Dave and I recently asked some clients and some past clients of ours if there was one thing we could talk about that would help them in their personal life, their business life, or life overall, what would it be? One of the things that rose to the top was how to combat imposter syndrome. So, today's subject is how to overcome, eliminate, or at least beat the crap out of imposter syndrome.
I choose to beat the crap out of it.
I had a feeling you would.
I love that. Welcome to another session of Inside Outlooks. I'm Dave Gorham, a mindset coach with a passion to make you show up as a superhero.
And I'm Matthey Walley, a mindset coach with a passion for being just a little bit cooler than Dave. Join us as we take a look inside so we can change the world around us. And away we go.
So, great way to start, I think, is to step back and first kind of define what imposter syndrome is from our perspective as coaching and as coaches, and also what the audience or really our clients are asking. What is imposter syndrome to me? And then we'll get your answer. I look at imposter syndrome as that nagging self-talk, little gremlin on your shoulder saying you're not worthy, saying you can't do that, questioning your judgment in a much more annoying and repetitious way, and it always comes out as negative. It's never positive. And that imposter syndrome is like, hey, do I really deserve what I'm doing? We can relate it to easily in a workplace where, you get a promotion or you get hired or you get to a certain level and everything's going right and you're wondering, ooh, so much is going right. When is the other shoe going to drop? That's imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it's one of those things that often is it's just kind of it needles at you, right? It just keeps poking you like over and over, and it's not a big blow to you. It's not a punch in the face. It's more of a hey.
Yeah.
It's
a nag.
It's a you're not talented enough. You're not good enough to pull this off. How did you get here? You don't deserve this. You didn't work hard enough to get here. You didn't, on and on and on and on and on. And I think it comes from the natural tendency as human beings to look for the reasons why we can't achieve something, right? Or looking at the things we haven't achieved rather than looking at what we're capable of or what we have already achieved. It's just human nature. We tend to look at what we haven't accomplished rather than what we have.
Yeah, not even tendency. The human mind is developing or generating, 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts a day, and they've been tracked to the point where the vast majority of those thoughts, not necessarily conscious thoughts, right? Thoughts that just float in, are negative. And that used to work for us as when we were primitive beings, right? Where everything was trying to kill us. It kept us safe, right? It almost to a point told us what to do to be safe, what to be aware of, what to be alert and cautious of. We don't have that as much in modern society. Our job isn't looking to kill us. Our relationships aren't looking to kill us. So we can focus on the positive thoughts, and energetically the positive thought is much more powerful than a negative thought. So even at that quantity disproportionate aspect of more negative over positive are much more powerful. So if we can focus on the positive, we can increase that strength so that the negative doesn't come up as much.
I'm going to debate you on, I think that the positive are not as powerful, because I think they say 5 positive thoughts to counteract a negative thought.
Yeah.
And so they're not more powerful, but they're necessary. They're what it takes to counteract the nature of us, of who we are, and that primitive protection of fear, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're saying the same thing. Energetically, they're more powerful than a negative thought, as a singularity, right? So not to get too
more powerful in the sense of getting what we want.
Yeah. The outcome, the result.
Yeah, right. For sure. Sure.
And if we step back even further and we just recognize that that's human nature, That's a little bit of part and parcel of how we're built with our brain and our consciousness and our instincts and our natural habits. We can give ourselves a little bit of permission to be human.
Yeah.
We don't have to succumb to it and become a victim to it because we have consciousness and awareness and tools that can propel us forward. So the cool thing here is that everyone has imposter syndrome at some point in their life.
Yeah.
So no one's unique, which is another reason why we do these talks, is because we're really not talking about any unique questions. These are things that pop up in people's lives that stop them from becoming the full version of themselves or moving forward. So to me, it starts with just an awareness of, hey, this is natural. And at that point, I think you stop it from even digging further into it, right? Mm-hmm. And now you have a little bit of a foundation to build on and start to, from a choice aspect, look at that self-talk and what it's actually saying and address it. Address it for yourself.
Sure.
You could address it on an emotional level, a logical level, but you're going to address it in a positive way.
And I think that it comes from that, the beginning of it is the reflection, if you will, the curiosity around where it comes from, right? How am I an imposter, right?
That's a great word. It's one of my favorite words, curiosity.
Yeah.
Well, that curiosity is going to bring more awareness, right? Because you could be curious and then get an answer and say, "Oh, that's fucking ridiculous," or be curious and say, "Ooh, that resonates. That one feels like from a negative subject matter. Ooh, that guilty thing creates shame. That feels right." And then you can start to challenge that. Is it real guilt? Is it real shame?
And I don't know if we talked about this on a recent podcast or if we did it in just our passing conversations, but, it's a mutual friend of ours who one day I pointed out something awesome and nice that she did for me. And she goes, yeah, but there were 5 other people I wanted to do similar things for that I didn't do. And, it's one of those situations where she feels like she's never doing enough because she's always looking at what she didn't accomplish. Yeah. But if you sit down and go, wow, look at all I accomplished first, often then you realize, oh, you know what? Yeah, I am good at this because we all have limitations. Time is one of them, right?
Yeah. Well, right, and that's one of the action items to address this imposter syndrome when it creeps up. Is you could say grateful and what are you grateful for and what are you thankful for? You just take it from what you just said, Matt, on an accomplishment level. This is a great time of year to look back and what did you accomplish? Not what didn't you accomplish and what needs to roll into 2023, but what did you accomplish in the past year? And look at those things. You and I just did it for Inside Outlooks and looked at, okay, what did we do in this year? I think we both may have came to that conversation with a little bit of like disappointment. And like, oh, we could have done better. We could have done more. Once we got through that list of accomplishments, we're like, wow, we did do a lot.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
and that is a feeling to build on, right? If your thoughts are going to move your feelings, that's an indicator of what you're thinking on. So if that felt good, let's do more of that. It's not the Pollyanna aspect of it. It's actually no, that shit really happened.
And I think it's the same. You could look at it with sales, right? Real estate. You and I deal with that. I coach some people on that. If you look at the numbers, right, they tell a story. So I'm going to use it on the positive sense, right? That you can look at it and go, wow, look how much I accomplished. But if you don't look at them, you go, oh, yeah, no, I feel like I accomplished a lot, right? Because the same is true on the opposite, that, well, no, I know what it takes until you write down the numbers and you look at, well, this is how much I want to make and this is how many deals it's going to take, whatever else, and you go, ooh, more than I thought it was, or that's less than I thought it was. And so it's just identifying things. It's writing down, journaling, as you and I both encourage and support in all of our clients and all of our friends. It's writing down those things. If you wrote down what you accomplished, and like you said, leave out what you didn't accomplish. Just write down what you did accomplish in a year.
Well, the stuff that you can leave out and what you didn't accomplish can move its way to a task list, right? If you take
or a goal,
one takeaway from this podcast, and it relates to another podcast that we did on Pattern Interrupt. You want to interrupt the pattern of imposter syndrome, sit down and write everything that you did today.
Yeah.
Or everything is that was a big word. It's probably the wrong word to use. Sit down and write from a yesterday's perspective what you're thankful for and grateful for, what you did that
What you
you're
accomplished.
proud of,
What you
that you
accomplished.
accomplished.
Yeah, sure.
And keep that in a journal. It could be as simple as that, and it can even be broader and deeper than that by explaining how you feel about that and what you think about that and how it's going to impact the next day. That's maybe a little bit more expertise journaling, or really got to build that habit.
I think if you start with one, you could start with, to make it simple at the end of the day, is to look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm proud of myself today for what I accomplished. Instead of, I could have accomplished so much more. I could have done that. I didn't get this done. I didn't. Okay, acknowledge that you did the best you could do with what you had to deal with, what time was, whatever. I'm proud of myself for what I accomplished today.
Yeah. What that's going to do is it's going to give you the daily successes that will create evidence that shows signs of growth.
Right.
And we feel that we're stagnant when we're in imposter syndrome. We feel that we've hit a ceiling that we're not yet worthy of in this next area. In this case, just journaling about this on a daily basis. And again, it could just be a list of, like you said, accomplishments from yesterday. What I accomplished today and what am I proud of? There's at least 3 things that you're proud of.
Yeah, and think of it in raising a child, right? If every day that child came home and you pointed out all the things they didn't do, what's going to happen? They're going to grow up always feeling like they're not doing enough, that they didn't do enough, that they're not capable of doing enough. And it's no different, because our self-talk is not usually, I'm so awesome and I had a great day and boy, wow, look at all of that. So we have to be purposeful about delivering that message. No matter what didn't happen, we have to look at what did and attaboy, whatever, ourselves, because if we don't influence the positive, the negative will exist, whether we want it to or not.
Yeah, and that's the point.
The positive's our choice.
Yeah, that puts a nice bow on it from how we started. The negative's always going to exist. The positive also exists. We just have a tendency to focus on the negative. Choose what you're focusing on.
Right.
And that's I think the message for today.
Yeah, so find a journal and write what you're grateful for. Write what you accomplished in it at the end of the day. Skip the negative stuff for a while. Start off with that for 30 days where you just write down what you accomplished.
Yeah.
Or something that you accomplished that you're happy about in a day and what you're grateful for.
I'd love to encourage any of the listeners to challenge us, challenge yourself. Send it to us. Yeah. Send us your thoughts. Send us some of those journals or lists. Ask some questions.
Yeah. If you don't have a coach, find somebody that you can share that with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
For sure. And if you're not sure what you accomplished, or you're not feeling talented enough to do something or good enough, again, find somebody that's your friend, somebody that you care about, that is going to encourage you. Right? Because as the quote says, if I treated you like I treat myself, would we still be friends? Right? We're going to encourage others. We have a harder time encouraging ourselves. So find somebody that's going to help you with that.
Dave,
I'm proud of you, Dave. You're awesome.
Thanks, man. You accomplished a lot. I love you. I'm honored by that. I don't think we really kicked the crap out of imposter syndrome today. I think what we did was we sent it some love and some understanding, and let it be what it is, allow it, so that we can not pay attention to it. So that's one other way of kicking the crap out of something. So.
Agreed.
All right. Agreed. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks for listening, and remember, your outside world is an inside job. See you next time. Hey, can we get 2 more over here? Make them doubles.